Hello and welcome to Weekly News Highlights. Let's begin with key words that made headlines this week. President Lee Jae-myung met with Vietnam's top leader To Lam in Seoul, where the two sides adopted a joint declaration on deepening the comprehensive strategic partnership established 3 years ago. They also pledged to realize a trade volume of $150 billion by 2030. President Lee Jae-myung and U.S. President Donald Trump will hold their first summit in Washington, D.C. on August 25th. Lee's three-day visit will include discussions on the two countries' security alliance and economic partnership. Friday, August 15th, marked the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japan's colonial rule. We take a look at a special exhibition in Seoul that sheds light on stories of resistance and some of the artifacts that are being shown to the public for the first time. A 5-year policy roadmap was unveiled this week for the new Lee Jae-myung administration. The focus is on forging an AI ecosystem to seek new growth engines, as well as upgrading South Korea's defense system. Our top office correspondent Yoon Jung-min has this report.
Exactly 70 days after the new administration set sail, following the snap election, a comprehensive policy roadmap has been unveiled for the next 5 years.
국민이 주인인 나라, 함께 행복한 진짜 대한민국을 만들어 가겠습니다. 국민이 하나 되는 정치로 갈등과 대립을 넘어 통합의 길로 나아가겠습니다.
In line with this goal, 3 principles were set: unity, fairness, and pragmatism. President Lee Jae-myung was speaking at an event in Seoul on Wednesday, where a set of blueprints was made public by the State Affairs Planning Committee, which now concludes its 2-month-long job as a de facto transition team. Included were 123 tasks in 5 areas, including politics, the economy, and foreign affairs.
The Republic of Korea is mired in low growth. We need a new framework in line with the changing environment.
Focus was on creating an AI ecosystem centered around AI chips as a future growth engine. On top of that, the new government aims to usher in the KOSP 5000 era through forging an environment that is more investment-friendly. When it comes to foreign affairs and security,
we will upgrade the 3-axis defense system to secure deterrence of our own against North Korea's nuclear and missile threats.
The 3-axis system refers to a 3-pronged system consisting of the Korea Massive Punishment and Retaliation, the Kill Train Preemptive Strike Platform, and the Korea Air and Missile Defense System. Seoul also plans to retake wartime operational control from Washington during Lee's term. On top of that, the defense system will be bolstered to match the changing security environment, while seeking to improve inter-Korean relations. Other goals include elevating South Korea as a global cultural powerhouse, with the aim of nurturing the K-culture market worth 300 trillion won, roughly $216 billion. Also announced were constitutional reform to better embody the principle of people's sovereignty, as well as prosecutorial reform to reduce the power that's often been too heavy on prosecutors. To carry out those policy tasks, a total of 210 trillion won is needed along the way, according to the committee, which will be secured through taxes and belt tightening. What was unveiled on Wednesday will be under review by the cabinet before confirmed. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
President Lee Jae-myung hosted Vietnam's political leader To Lam in Seoul, seeking to bolster cooperation. One particular focus was on sharply increasing bilateral trade volume. Yoon Jung-min reports.
The summit began on a friendly note with a handshake and a gun salute to welcome Vietnam's top political leader.
대한민국 새 정부 들어서서 첫 번째 국빈 방문이십니다. 그만큼 우리가 베트남을 중히 여기고 있다는 점을.
The sentiment was mirrored by Vietnam's Communist Party leader To Lam, as he invited President Lee and the First Lady to Vietnam in the near future.
I'm honored to be invited. I congratulate President Lee Jae-myung for being elected as the 21st President of the Republic of Korea.
Monday's summit talks yielded deliverables to further deepen the South Korea-Vietnam comprehensive strategic partnership.
올해 한 베트남 FTA 발효 10주년을 맞아 우리 양국은 2030년까지 교역 규모 1,500억 불 목표를 달성하기 위한 노력을 더욱 강화해 나가기로 하였습니다.
Last year, bilateral trade reached nearly $87 billion, with Vietnam being South Korea's third largest trading partner. There are other areas of cooperation.
We agreed to focus on developing strategic infrastructure, such as infrastructure related to transportation, energy, digital, and climate change.
South Korea hopes to take part in large-scale infrastructure projects in Vietnam, including its nuclear power plant project and North-South Express Railway project. Focus was also on strengthening cooperation on AI, renewable energy, critical minerals, and copyright, for which an array of MOUs were signed. And the meeting was crucial in more ways than one. The new South Korean leader shared his vision for peace and prosperity on the Korean peninsula, as Lam welcomed the South Korean government's efforts to resume dialogue with North Korea. The Vietnamese leader, for his part, noted the importance of peace and freedom of navigation in the South China Sea. On the diplomatic front, the two leaders agreed upon cooperation on multilateral forums, as South Korea and Vietnam serve as hosting countries of the APEC summit in 2025 and 2027, respectively. Also, exchanges will be expanded at parliamentary and municipal levels. And as a clear reflection of the importance of people-to-people and cultural exchanges, First Lady Kim Hae-kyung hosted the spouse of Vietnam's top leader, Ngo Phong Le, at the National Museum of Korea in Seoul. To Lam's visit to Korea, the first of its kind in 11 years, involves a dinner hosted by the South Korean president with heads of major South Korean businesses, including SK and Hyundai Motor Groups. Seoul's top office says Monday's summit signals the start of East pragmatic diplomacy in earnest. This comes at a time when the global trade environment is becoming increasingly unstable. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Seoul also hosted a business forum this week aimed at further strengthening economic ties between Korea and Vietnam. Our correspondent Moon Ji-young reports.
To mark the first visit in 11 years by Vietnam's top party leader, the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry hosted a business forum on Tuesday, aiming to bolster economic cooperation between the two nations. The forum was attended by Vietnam's Party General Secretary To Lam, 500 officials from both governments and the business community, and South Korean Prime Minister Kim Min-seok.
Since establishing diplomatic ties in 1992, Korea and Vietnam have mutually become among each other's top 3 trading partners. Korea is also Vietnam's largest investor, with nearly 10,000 companies operating there, making them essential economic partners across diverse sectors like textiles, electronics, chemicals, and shipbuilding.
Prime Minister Kim further emphasized expanding cooperation beyond manufacturing into new industrial sectors such as high-tech, culture, and digital, and also underscored comprehensive supply chain collaboration, particularly in energy. Vietnam's finance minister highlighted mutually beneficial cooperation.
The Vietnamese government welcomes Korean businesses to jointly enter Vietnam and third markets, and we are prepared for mutually beneficial cooperation. We will particularly work closely with Korea in new energy, semiconductors, AI, and the e-digital economy, and we will spare no support for large-scale cooperation projects.
The forum notably spurred significant collaboration, culminating in the signing of 52 memoranda of understanding across diverse sectors, such as industrial cooperation, energy, and food and tourism. Specifically, 47 Korean companies and organizations, along with 37 Vietnamese counterparts, committed to strengthening cooperation in a wide array of fields, from energy, shipbuilding, and aviation to cutting-edge areas like AI, advanced materials, and drones. Moon Ji-young, Arirang News.
The date has been set for the first E-Trump summit. Key bilateral issues will top the agenda involving security, peace on the Korean Peninsula, and details of the two countries' trade deal. Our presidential office correspondent Yoon Jung-min reports.
The date has been made official for the first E-Trump summit, August 25th. President Lee Jae-myung will be in Washington from August 24th to 26th upon invitation from U.S. President Donald Trump. According to the top office in Seoul, it'll be a working visit involving a luncheon. During the first summit in more than 2 months since Lee took office, the agenda will include key issues.
The two leaders will discuss ways to develop the South Korea-U.S. alliance into a future-oriented, comprehensive strategic alliance in response to the changing international security and economic environment.
An economic partnership on chips, batteries, and shipbuilding will top the agenda, as well as high technology and critical minerals, as part of the Allies' framework trade deal that was reached late last month, before the Trump administration's August 1st deadline. Security issues that were not addressed at that time could be on the table. Eyes are also on whether the two leaders will discuss resuming dialogue with North Korea, reflecting peace efforts by the new government in Seoul.
The leaders will discuss measures to coordinate peace on the Korean Peninsula and denuclearization, while further strengthening the robust South Korea-U.S. combined defense posture.
First Lady Kim Hae-kyung will be accompanying the president. Business leaders could also join the trip, though the presidential office says it has yet to be decided. With much speculation that President Lee's trip to neighboring Japan will precede his U.S. trip, his office remains tight-lipped, adding it's sounding out various possibilities. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
And on that note, attention is also on the crucial trade issues that are expected to be addressed at the summit. Our economic correspondent Moon Ji-young reports.
As the August 25th Korea-U.S. summit approaches, unresolved trade issues are taking center stage. A primary point of contention is the finalization of Korea's plus $350 billion investment. The two countries notably hold differing views. While the U.S. asserts the investment plan falls under its president's direction, Korea clarifies that the U.S. dictating all investment destinations is merely political expression. Observers point to what to anticipate regarding the summit's outcome.
President Trump will probably push very hard for Korea to accept his interpretation rather than the Korean or Japanese interpretation. And it will be a very tough pressure because Trump will be negotiating not just for the Korean deal, but he's probably going to use the results from the Korean deal and reinterpretation as a model for Japan, European Union, and other countries as well.
Another critical issue is the U.S.'s proposed 100% tariff on foreign-made semiconductors. The key uncertainty for Korea lies in whether the most favored nation treatment proposed by the U.S. will be applied. In fact, these cheap tariffs have a significant impact not only on exporters to the U.S., but also on the American economy.
In terms of like this meaning of the tariffs, obviously on our daily lives are like completely depending on the electronics such as smartphone, TVs, and internet-based machines. So in that case, semiconductors are going to be extremely important. Therefore, the prices of consumers and also producers actually will eventually go up. So the most important effect is going to come through the inflation.
Agricultural market access also remains a contentious issue. While the U.S. calls for historical market access for its agricultural products like rice and beef, Korea has firmly rejected any further opening, emphasizing that there will be no additional market access. Beyond these points, further non-tariff barriers like Google's high-precision map data export will be crucial issues to monitor at the upcoming summit. 문지영, Arirang News.
South Korea's former First Lady Kim Gun-hee has been arrested on corruption charges. This is the first time in the nation's history that a former First Lady has been put behind bars, and also the first time that a former presidential couple has been detained at the same time. Kim was arrested late on Tuesday on charges of stock manipulation, interference in party nominations, and political influence peddling. She was moved to the Seoul Southern Detention Center, where she waited in a holding room for detainees before she was transferred to a housing unit. Her arrest means all privileges as a former First Lady were revoked, and her security detail was fully withdrawn. However, like her husband, she will be assigned a dedicated correctional officer and kept separate from other inmates during exercise and bathing. Kim first appeared for questioning in front of the special counsel team last week, where she made a public apology.
I am truly sorry that a nobody like myself has caused concern for the people. I will faithfully undergo the questioning.
Her husband, Yoon Suk-yeol, is behind bars on insurrection charges. While several other former Korean presidents have previously served prison terms, this is the first time in the nation's history that both a former president and their spouse have been jailed at the same time. This Friday, August 15th, marked the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. On this historic occasion, we look at how the nation honors and remembers those who gave their lives for independence. And joining us in the studio with us today is our reporter Park Hyobin. Welcome, Hyobin.
Thanks for having me.
So, Hyobin, this year's August 15th is especially meaningful as it marks the 80th anniversary of Korea's Liberation Day. Can you tell us more about Korea's Liberation Day and the significance this holds?
Korea's National Liberation Day, or also known as Gwangbokjeol in Korean, is celebrated to mark Korea's independence from Japanese colonial rule in 1945 after 35 years of occupation. The name Gwangbokjeol combines Gwangbok, meaning restoration of light, with Jeol, meaning festival day. It is a time to honor all those who made sacrifices for the nation's freedom, with commemorative events held nationwide. Each year, many museums and palaces host special exhibitions around the anniversary to remember their legacy and share the history with the public.
Right, and in line with that, I heard you visited a special exhibition that showcases Korea's resistance, right?
To mark the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation, a special exhibition at Deoksugung Palace brings together over 110 artifacts from the late 19th century to the day the nation reclaimed its freedom. For the first time, Korean independence hero An Jung-geun's calligraphy is being showcased to the public. The two letters meaning green bamboo show his strong opposition to Japanese rule. His final brushstrokes made in a cold Rusun prison cell before his execution capture not only defiance against Japan, but also a longing for peace in Asia and respect for human dignity. The exhibition also highlights lesser-known independence fighters. Min Young-hwan took his own life in protest after the Ulsa Treaty stripped Korea of its sovereignty, writing, "If our freedom and independence are restored, I shall gladly smile even in the afterlife." The spirit of defiance is also preserved in the national flag, a taegukgi found at Jingwansa Temple, riddled with holes and burn marks. Believed to have been made during the March 1st independence movement in 1919, it bears the Korean flag taeguk symbol and trigrams painted in black ink over the Japanese flag, showing the message of resistance.
This taegukgi national flag of Korea, found at Jingwansa Temple, is even more meaningful, as it shows just how fiercely our independence fighters carried out their work in secrecy.
It's actually quite rare for the Jingwansa taegukgi to be on display for the public. You can also see the Jingwansa taegukgi and the taegukgi we see today are a little bit different. The taeguk symbol drawn differently, and the positions of the 4 trigrams in the corners aren't quite the same as today. That's because when the taegukgi was adopted as the official national flag in 1883, the law at that time only specified the use of taeguk and trigrams without defining the exact design. The exhibition runs until October 12th, so for anyone who wants to commemorate Gwangbokjeol or experience the strength and courage of Korean independence heroes, I highly recommend visiting the exhibition.
Are there any other exhibitions available for visitors to explore more about Korean history?
Yes, the National Museum of Korea has restored the 5 faces of iconic figures using cutting-edge AI technology. An Jung-gun, who assassinated Japanese Governor Ito Hirobumi, now waves with a bright smile. Yu Gun-sun, who died in prison at 17, appears as a shy girl with gentle smile. Lee Bong-chang and Yoon Bong-gil, who threw bombs at Japanese leaders, come alive with warm expressions. And An Chang-ho, an educator and activist, greets with a friendly wave.
It was amazing to see what I had only imagined from textbooks. Since it's the 80th anniversary, it really feels like a meaningful exhibition.
Through AI recreation, I could almost feel their spirit and character.
Behind that smile lies a darker history one of the museum is determined to show. For the first time ever, Japan's surveillance cards of independence heroes are on display. In particular, the 5 surveillance cards of An Chang-ho show how his face became notably gaunt throughout the repeated imprisonments.
These cards were made to systematically manage imprisoned independence activists. They're about palm-sized, but filled with detailed information, including names and photos.
Liberation Day in Korea is more than a historical anniversary. It's a moment to reflect on the cost of freedom and to honor those who paid that price. And now with AI, the voices and faces of Korea's fight for independence can finally be seen and heard.
All right, Hyobin, thank you for the wrap-up today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Eun-ji. It was my pleasure.
The K-pop Demon Hunters craze is hitting new heights with its hit song Golden topping the Billboard Hot 100, making history for both K-pop and virtual idols. Our Pyeongyang reports.
The K-pop Demon Hunter sensation shows no signs of slowing down, this time topping the Billboard Hot 100 chart. Praised for its high-quality animation, visually striking characters, and clever use of Korean traditional folklore, the Netflix original animation soundtrack Golden climbed up a spot to reach #1 for the first time. Billboard announced the feat on Monday local time, noting that Golden is the 9th song linked to Korean pop to top the Hot 100, and the first to do so with female lead vocalists.
This is the first time a girl group has topped the Billboard Hot 100 since Destiny's Child. And in K-pop history, it's also the first time virtual idols, or an animated act based on K-pop, have reached #1 on the chart.
Sung by the virtual girl group Huntrix in the movie, the vocalists behind the song are Korean-American artists EJ, Ray Ami, and Audrey Nuna. Of all the tracks in K-pop Demon Hunters, Golden has stood out for its soaring high notes in the latter part of the song, a section that has even become a benchmark for proving one's vocal skills and sparked the Golden Challenge among K-pop stars. Big K-pop names like Solar of Mamamoo, Lily of Mix, and Ailee have all joined in.
K-pop is not just about listening to and enjoying the music, it's about enjoying it together. That's one of K-pop's charms. Participating, singing along, even creating content, all of that has helped bring the songs from K-pop Demon Hunters closer to the public.
Earlier this month, Golden also topped the UK's official singles Top 100 chart, one of the 2 biggest music charts in the world, alongside Billboard's Top 100, making it a rare track to conquer both the UK and US pop markets. Pyeongyang, Arirang News.
And as the animated film K-pop Demon Hunters continues to garner popularity, Korean traditional culture has also been coming to light. Yeonhee, or folk performance arts, is one of them, and our An Sung-jin went to check out a folk play that resembles one of the characters from the movie.
The dense blue fur shakes as the tiger stands on its feet. Its oversized mask, weathered yet alive, seems to breathe. This is 사자춤, or 사자탈춤, directly translated as the lion dance. It's a traditional Korean dance or folk play that portrays a lion to bring good fortune. But Yeonhee Connect Il, a group of young performers, have given it a twist to it, using a tiger instead. The tiger happens to resemble the character Duffy from K-pop Demon Hunters, but the group say they began using it instead of a lion to combine elements of its fierceness, traditional Korean folk paintings, and the symbol of the mythical Seoul Hette creature with its team color blue.
The fact that this piece reminded some of K-pop demon hunters suggests that we successfully conveyed a universal narrative combining traditional themes and immersive media.
Through performances like this, the group works on bringing traditional folk performance arts back to life. It often performs a type of Korean percussion music known as hamulnori. But rather than merely replicating the tradition, it instead adds digital projections or modern media like DJing.
We aim to continue building on the foundation of traditional Korean performance arts while incorporating modern aspects through contemporary storytelling, media art, and choreography to create entirely new stage experiences.
For them, it's not about reproducing the past, but creating works that breathe with the present. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
That is all we have for this edition of Weekly News Highlights. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend.